Hello guys, welcome back to our video. On today's video, we're going to learn about value-added tax restitution with me, Wardah Fahira, and my partner, Naomi Rumandang. Without further ado, let's get into the video. First of all, we have to know the definition of value-added tax restitution. The term restitution in the world of taxation refers to a tax refund request submitted by taxpayers to the country. The basis for submitting a refund is the overpayment experienced by the taxpayer. Meanwhile, value-added tax refund is the submission of a tax return by a taxable entrepreneur. Value-added tax refunds can only be submitted if the tax credit amount is greater than the tax payable or the PKP makes the tax payment that are not supposed to be due. Legal basis for value-added tax restitution procedure. Number 1. Law number 42 of 2009 concerning the third amendment of Law number 8 of 1983 concerning value-added tax on goods and services and sales tax on luxury goods. Number 2. Regulation of the Minister of Finance number 72/PMK.03/2010 concerning procedures for returning excess PPN or PPNBM. Based on the official instructions, the procedure for VAT refunds of overpayment are as follows. First, PKP can apply for VAT refunds by using fill in the periodic VAT SPT by putting a cross in the column return or restitution. If the column return or restitution in the periodic VAT SPT isn't filled or doesn't include an application for tax overpayment return, then PKP can make its own application letter. Second, PKP can apply for VAT refunds to the Directorate General Pajak through the Tax Service Office, where the PKP is confirmed. Third, after Dirjen Pajak checks, SKP-PKP is issued in the following case. The amount of tax credit is much greater than the amount of payable or PKP makes tax payment that shouldn't be owed. If there is a tax payable that is collected by the VAT collector, then the amount of tax payable is the amount of output tax deducted by the input tax or taxes collected by the VAT collector. Fourth, SKP-PKP is issued by the Dirjen Pajak no later than 12 months or 1 year since the complete application letter has been submitted and received, unless certain activities has been determined based on a decision of Directorate General Pajak. Last, if within 12 months of the application for VAT refunds, the Directorate General Pajak doesn't make a decision, the application for VAT refunds is granted, and the SKP-PKP will be issued at the latest 1 month after the expiration of the period. Requests for restitution can only be submitted at the end of the financial year. If during one tax period, the creditable input tax is greater than the output tax, the difference is the excess tax that can be compensated for in the next tax period. PKP can apply for a refund of the overpayment of VAT at the end of the financial year. In contrast to individual PKP who are exempted from the obligation to maintain bookkeeping, the purpose of the financial year in the previous point is a calendar year. Research criteria for value-added tax restitution. First, PKP with certain criteria is PKP which is in accordance with Article 17C and 17D of the KUP law, namely taxpayers with the criteria of compliant taxpayers. Second, non-PKP with low risk as referred to in Article 9, paragraph 4C of the VAT law.
Next, low-risk PKP will not get SKP-PKP. This SKP-PKP could not be issued if, first, the result of the research states that PKP does not fulfill the provisions stipulated in Article 9, paragraph 4b, letters A, B, C, D, and E of the PPN law. Second, the research result states that there is no PKP overpayment of VAT. And third, the notification letter attachment is incomplete and there is an incorrect tax payment. Low-risk PKP whose SKP-PKP cannot be issued must receive notification in writing using the attachment Form PMK-72/PMK.03/2010 and request for tax overpayment. The process is carried out based on the provisions of Article 17B of the KUP law. Next, returns of overpayment of taxes which shall not be accounted. Requirements that must be met in order to submit a request for a refund of overpayment of taxes that should not be owed are separated based on the things that cause the overpayment to occur as follows. Refund of tax overpayments on tax payments by the paying party. First, requests for returns are submitted in writing in Indonesian. Second, requests for returns must be signed by the paying party. The payer includes A. Individual taxpayer. The payer includes first, individual taxpayers, second, corporate taxpayers, and third is individuals or entities that are not required to have a taxpayer identification number. If the application is signed by a non-paying party, the application must be accompanied by a special power of attorney in accordance with the provisions of laws and regulations in the field of taxation. And third, application for return must be accompanied by documents in the form of A. Original proof of tax payment in the form of tax payment form or other administrative means equivalent to tax payment. B. Calculation of taxes that should not be owed, and C. The reason for requesting a refund for the overpayment of taxes that should not be owed. Fourth, requests for return are submitted directly to KPP where the taxpayer is registered, or KPP whose working area includes an individual's residence or body's domicile in the case that the individual or agency is not required to have a NPWP, and to him is given proof of receipt of the letter. And fifth, in addition to direct submission of applications, applications can also be submitted via post with proof of mail delivery, or courier service company, or courier service with proof of delivery letters. Proof of receipt of the letter, as referred to, is proof of receipt of the application letter. And next, refund of the overpayment of tax for the excess tax in the context of import. First, requests for returns are submitted in writing in Indonesian. Second, request for return must be signed by the taxpayer. If the application is signed by a non-taxpayer, the application must be accompanied by a special power of attorney in accordance with the provisions of laws and regulations in the field of taxation. Third, application for return must be accompanied by documents in the form of A. A photocopy or proof of tax payment in the form of a customs deposit for excise and tax or other administrative advice, which is equivalent to a customs deposit for excise and tax. B. Photocopy of SPTNP, SPKTNP, SPKPMB, SPP, or documents containing import cancellations that have been approved by the authorized official. And C. Photocopy of objection decisions, appeal decisions, and/or judicial review decisions related to SPTNP, SPKTNP, SPKPMB, or SPP in the event that filed an objection, appeal, and/or review of SPTNP, SPKTNP, SPKPMB, or SPP. D. The calculation of taxes that shall not be owed, and E. The reason for requesting a refund of the tax overpayment which should not be payable. And fourth, the request for return is submitted directly to the KPP where the WP is registered and the receipt of the letter is given. And fifth, in addition to direct submission of applications, applications can be submitted through post with proof of mail delivery, or courier service company or courier service with proof of delivery of letters. And sixth, proof of receipt of a letter or proof of delivery of a letter is proof of receipt of an application. And the last but not least is refund of overpayment of tax for deduction or collection errors. First, requests for returns are submitted in writing in Indonesian. Second, the request for refund must be signed by the taxpayer or the party entitled to submit the application. If the application is signed by a non-taxpayer or a party entitled to apply, the application must be accompanied by a special power of attorney in accordance with the provisions of laws and regulations in the field of taxation. Okay guys, that's all for the video. Thanks for watching.